Everyone says when life gives you lemons, well, you obviously make lemonade. But what if it keeps giving you solid rocks that you can't do anything with? That's what my life has been like up to this point, and it's only looking to get worse for me. Let me give you guys a bit of a context, should I? My name is Ray, and I have not had a great life. I know I'm young, and sometimes life can throw you down to a point where everything looks dark. I'm 19, by the way. But this is not the case. Not with me. My life has been dark ever since I was born, and the only light is my mom. You could say that from the moment I was born a boy, my fate was sealed. I was doomed right from the start because everyone was expecting me to be a girl. See, there's a bit of a history to be understood about my whole extended family. It's that for generations, everybody had only given birth to sons and everybody wanted a daughter. It sounds worse than it is because, from the context of my family, it's perfectly valid. Everybody kept giving birth to sons, and it's sort of becoming like a family curse. And everybody was waiting to see who broke it. My father, James, the youngest son of my grandfather, was next in line. And since both his brothers only had sons, he really wanted a daughter. The whole family wanted to see a daughter, but knew that he would have a son too. But then everybody was surprised when Mom gave birth to my older sister, Annabeth, and she instantly became the golden child of the whole family. I think I don't have to explain how happy everyone was, that finally we had a daughter in the family and how much she got pampered because of it. So originally, my parents wanted one child, but because they had a daughter, they wanted to try and see if they could have another one. My dad was so confident this time that even before I was born, he had bought several things believing that he was going to be blessed with a baby girl again. But unfortunately for him, the family, and me, I came out as a guy. And I was an instant disappointment. I mean, can you imagine how it feels knowing that I disappointed my father the second I got into this world? That has to be some kind of record, right? And if you're thinking that he probably was still happy he had me and I'm simply exaggerating, okay, let me tell you something. After I was born, he was so devastated that he refused to hold me, and he only warmed up to me hours later when Mom got mad at him. The whole family also expected me to be a girl, so when I wasn't, they were not interested in me at all, and some even refused to come to see me at the hospital. But the funny thing is, I don't really mind at all, because it would have really never affected me if they had just treated me normally, but they didn't. They couldn't. Growing up, it truly felt like the only person who really loved me was my mom, and everyone else was just kind of stuck with me. My own father acted like he was under contract to raise me, and he hated that he could not get out of that contract. But he wasn't that bad either, because he never gave me any attention, so it was like being raised by a distant shepherd, a stepdad. Now, the only thing I didn't like was how my own sister treated me. Annie had everything. She was treated like a princess by everybody, while I never even got an ounce of love from anyone else. So tell me, was I wrong in expecting to at least have a loving sister who took my side? Well, I guess I was, because my sister treated me like I was a born servant to her. She made me do any work that she wanted to, and I refused. She would just go make up things and get Dad to scold me or even ground me. She never saw me as a sibling and got me in so much trouble just for her entertainment, and slowly my love for her died out too. I mean, who can keep loving a person like her? Well, not me. Even though my life was a sad mess, I was still kind of happy. And all of that was because of my mom. She loved me regardless and never let me feel like I was not enough or anything. But sadly, life did not like that. I was happy for once, and when I was 12, she passed away. After that, my life quite literally became hell. Can you believe that I did not even get sympathy for losing my own mom? Everybody was too focused on my sister to care about how I felt or what I needed. If my cousins, who have been treated like me, had not helped me, I don't know where I would have gone now. After we lost Mom, Dad kind of went from not caring about me to being mad at me. I think he felt that it was easier to blame me for Mom's passing, but at this point I had learned to not give a darn about him. So no matter what he said to me, I never took it seriously. He started making me do a lot of work, and my life just kept getting harder. I had to do my schoolwork, my housework, and even my sister's work. I couldn't catch a break. The thing is, I never complained because I knew that my dad did not like me one bit and could easily throw me away or send me somewhere. But there were times I debated with myself if it was worth staying with a family who didn't love me. The only person who honestly cared about me was gone, and life felt kinda bland. I genuinely think that if it were not for my friends, I would not have had much reason to stay. Slowly, I did find ways to keep myself happy, despite the situation that I was in. One of the big reasons was that I wanted to study hard and get a good job so I could leave this family and live alone happily. My dad kinda made a deal with me to keep letting me study and pay, for anything that was absolutely essential for me. I did not get much extra money, but I did earn a bit by doing housework. So even though I was in a tough pickle, I was still doing okay, but all of that changed about a week ago when I learned something out. So right now, my sister is in her second year of college, and she's barely passing. Because of how she was raised, she has never worked hard, so she is bad at studying. But because of my deal with Dad, the only thing I've done is work hard, and I'm really good at my studies. She hates that I'm so much better than her at studies, but refuses to take my advice when I try to help her. For her, I'm more of a servant than a family member. I was under the impression that I was going to the same college as my sister, as I knew my dad would refuse to send me somewhere better because it would make her look bad. I'd already even applied, but a week ago, Dad told me something absolutely absurd. He said I wasn't going to college, and I told him that I knew I wasn't going to a better college, and that I was happily going to the same college as my sister. But then he said that, he did not mean that, no, he meant I wasn't going to college at all. He literally refused to pay for my education. When I asked him, why he would do that, he refused to answer me. I didn't argue because I felt like it was one of those days where he was just mad and was, taking it out on me. I gave him a day to calm down and had a fresh conversation the next morning. But his views remained the same and he kept telling me he couldn't pay for it. This made me emotional because it wasn't fair. I've done everything this man asked me to do, and even better than he wanted me to do. But I was still being punished for no reason at all. So I get mad and ask him what I have done to deserve this, and he stayed quiet. So I told him that I knew that he has the money, so there has to be a better reason. That whole day I kept bugging him, and at night he finally tells me that I had left him no choice. He didn't want me to do better than his golden daughter, and that it would make her feel bad if I started doing super well in college while she was very close to failing. I could not believe it. I had to make sure that he was telling me that my problem was that I was too good at school. He said that this was the last time he would talk about this and asked me to never bring it up again. He repeated that he was not going to let me make his daughter feel bad about herself and that she was a lot more important than my education. So in short, how she felt was more important than me going to college for him. I mean, I knew all of this already, but hearing it out loud really did a number on me. I had never missed Mom more than that night. I cried the whole night thinking about her. Also, when I asked Father what he wanted me to do if I did not go to college, he said that I should get a job at a fast food place or something. Well, can you believe this? I mean, come on. Guys, it's been a few days since then, and I have no idea what I should do. That's why I'm sharing my story, to see if you guys can offer me some advice. What should I do now? Is there a way that I can make him pay, or do I have to give up my dreams of going to college? What would you do? Update number 1. Hey friends, it's been over a month since my last update, and a lot has happened. But firstly, I want to thank you guys for guiding me and giving me advice. Believe me, you have helped, and I would not be in the position I am if not for you guys. Well, I cannot say I am in a great position right now, but it's better than being helpless. So, a few days after my last update, I got tired of trying to come up with ideas on how to convince Dad. At the time, I believed that I only had 2 options, to convince him to pay or to give up and start working. Honestly, working a small job started sounding like a good option because the way I could move out of the house in a few years too. I knew that if I just worked hard, I could do everything I've ever wanted to do in life. But then I get a different idea. The only one who I believed could change my dad's mind was my sister because of obvious reasons. So I decided to ask her for help. Now, I knew that there was no reason for her to help me, but I truly believed that she would at least understand the need for me to study. So I went to her and told her what had happened to my college plans. She listened and laughed at my misery and asked me what I wanted her to do. Then I begged her to go to Dad and help me. I even told her that if she did this, I would help her with whatever she wanted me to do. She listened closely and then laughed uncontrollably. It looked like she had just heard the best joke ever. She could not even speak for a minute or so, and after she finished laughing, she told me that she knew I was stupid, but she had no idea I was this dumb. When I asked her what happened, she tells me that she was the reason behind this. She asked me, why would Dad suddenly worry about her performance and stop me? Why would he even think of that? Well, it turns out that he thought of all that because my sister told him that I did super well in high school, and if I came to the same college, she would become embarrassed with herself. She said that my being there and doing good was only going to affect her studies and make her worse. So she recommended he not waste any money on me, as I was not going to do anything great either. Well, this really made me mad, and I told her that one day I was going to get her back for everything that she's done to me, including this. Just like always, she laughed, and after that, my dreams of going to college were pretty much shattered for about a week. But then I saw a comment, and one of you guys gave me some great advice. It was a way that I could pay for my own college by taking a student loan. I contacted one of my favorite teachers who knew about my family condition, and as soon as I told him about the condition I was in, he agreed to help. He, along with my childhood friend, Rainer, helped me with all the process and everything. And in about 2 weeks, it looked like I was going to college. I knew I had to tell my dad about this eventually, since I would have to get a part-time job. So a few days ago, I told him what I'd done. My sister was also there listening, and at first she did not react to what I said. She just made a face at me, but was still confident that I wasn't going to go. Dad listened to what I was saying and said that he could not allow this to happen. I told him that he could not stop me from going to college. He can refuse to pay like he already did, but I figured out a way to do it myself, but he wasn't having it. He tells me that this was not some sort of game where I find a loophole. And when he said that I wasn't going to go that far, I wasn't going to go. Honestly, it made me mad to see him do this because I genuinely believed that this time he was going to understand and let me study. But you know what he did? When I refused to stop my plan, he tells me that I need to have a home and a job too because he wasn't going to keep me around. He's given me an ultimatum to either go to college and get kicked out of the house or do what he says instead. Genuinely, I can't believe that this person is my real father. Nobody would be this cruel to their own blood. I'm still thinking about what to do and have not decided yet, but I will soon decide and let you guys know exactly what happens. Update number 2. Hey guys, I'm sorry. It's been several months since my last update, since I had to move out. I forgot all about this until something happened that made me really remember. Well, I should continue from where I left off. By the way, you guys are going to love this one. So yes, if you haven't already guessed, I chose to go to college rather than stay at the hellhole with demons for family. To be completely honest, I did not decide that myself. When I told my friend Rainer about what's happening, he immediately tells me to get out of there and made room for me at his place. He stayed with a few people who were all my friends, and they were very happy to have me. They even refused to take rent, and I have not paid a single penny for rent all this time. You know what the saying is true. God could not be everywhere, so he made mom and friends. With them supporting me, I decided to leave the house, and I don't know if my sister was happy with me leaving or sad I was going to college. My dad was not happy at all because for the first time in my life I have not done something that he asked me to do. He told me that I was going to regret this decision, and I told him the only regret I have is not doing this as soon as I turned 18. Also, for those wondering, yes, I did go to my other family members multiple times for help. Once when a dad told me about not paying for college and they refused to help me. And second, when he threatened to kick me out, and guess what they did that time? Refused to help again. How consistent of them, right? My family is pretty much useless. And other than my cousins, everyone only cares about my sister. And I guess that's where the big news comes in. So after I moved in with the boys, I started going to college. And for a month or two, I was too focused to think about my sister. I would see her from time to time, but both of us did not care enough to talk to each other. Then one day, I went to a party with Rainer. And when we went off to the roof to drink, I found my sister doing drugs with her boyfriend. And they even started to kiss. I didn't do anything and only took a few photos of her and wondered what would happen if I showed my family what their golden child was doing. Well, that gave me an idea of taking revenge against my sister for everything that she's done to me. That thought was also the reason I remembered about all this. Because as soon as I started thinking about revenge, I remembered that I needed to tell you guys if I did anything. I told Rainer what I was planning on doing. He agreed to help. Honestly, he made the plan even better. It turns out he had a friend who had a few classes with my sister, and he asked that friend, Tina, to try and get close to Annabeth so that we could learn more about everything that she was doing. So for the past month, Tina has been providing me information, and I've been collecting proof of everything my sister is doing. Honestly, nobody's going to see this coming, as my sister has turned into quite the bad kid. She's not only dating multiple guys at once and doing drugs, she's never going to college and has turned into a person who all my family absolutely hates. That's right. When I have enough of this evidence, I'm planning on showing everyone what she's doing in college so they can understand what they did to her. I want Dad to see the daughter he so desperately wanted and loved unconditionally, and I want him to regret not being a good father to me. I'll see you guys in the next update. Update number 3. Hey guys, I'm back. It's been about 2 months since my last update, and let me just tell you what happened with my plan. So I'm sure you guys remember last time I was planning on collecting evidence and showing everyone what my sister was doing, but something else happened. Now, I had not planned on doing this from the start, but I think my sister deserved this. So over a month ago, I had gotten more than enough evidence to show everyone the true side of my sister, thanks to Tina and Rainer's help. But before I could do anything with it, I accidentally ran into my sister when getting out of class. She then tried to talk to me in a tone that implied I worked for her or something, so I told her, "Hey, buddy, stay in line." Then she embarrassed me in front of her friends, calling me a servant and telling them embarrassing things that she made me do when I was a kid. I didn't fight, I just took it because I knew I could give it back 100-fold. And that day, I decided that my plan was not enough. I wanted her to get arrested. So at the end of the week, when she was doing a supply run for a party and also got a bunch of party favors, you know what I mean, somebody, and by somebody I mean me, tipped the police and she got caught. Oh, I wish I was there to see her face when the police took her. Tina told me that she tried to run and get tasered and then got dragged into the car in handcuffs. She was crying by the time the cops put her in the car. She couldn't record this, unfortunately, so I'll have to be satisfied with my imagination. Also, I would have loved to see my dad's reaction when he heard the news that his little golden child got arrested for drug possession. So obviously the family was confused about everything. So I sent one of my cousins all the evidence and asked him to pretend I was an ex-boyfriend of hers. He put everything in the family group chat and everyone found out about what she did and nobody even blamed me. They only blamed, being thrown around was Dad. And his parenting skills were being questioned. A little later, people started dragging Dad bad, saying that he should not have raised her as such, like this, a golden child turned to a junkie criminal. I was just happy enough that the chaos was outside. Then Dad called me and screamed at me, saying that he knew that it was me who did all of this and that the next time he saw me, things would not go well for me. I told him that I had not done anything and that I was not like him to stoop so low to do something like this to family. I literally turned the tables on him, 180, and told him all this was a mistake. But he just kept screaming and cutting the call when I didn't budge. My cousin also told me that he called me and kept trying to get him to agree it was me, but thankfully he did not slip. He maintained that it was from an unknown number which said that it was her ex-boyfriend. A few weeks later, my cousin had his engagement party and he invited me. I went both to see my cousin and father because I knew he'd be there. When we met, Dad refused to even look at me, so I just ignored him, but I guess he could not see me happy because later in the evening he asked me why I did this to his daughter. I told him once again I didn't do anything. He did it to her. I also told him that it was also not entirely his fault too because he had made mistakes with me as well, but I turned out fine. He then drank a lot and after half an hour accused me once more of framing my sister, but this time instead of denying it, I just smirked a little and he lost it. Guys, he attacked me. I got punched a few times and my cousin and uncles had to stop at and drag him off me. Obviously, the cops were called, and even though many family members begged me not to, I got him arrested, baby. Assault! Yes, I would like to press charges, officer. While he was going away, I gave him the smirk again, and then he looked like his head was going to explode. Anyways, that was 2 weeks ago, and since then I've gone back to my life of study and work, and I do wish that I had a loving family. I do wish I didn't have to do this to them, but they did not leave me many options. For anyone wondering, no, I do not regret it, because they've never been like a family to me. Anyways, this is it for me, guys. I hope I did not disappoint you by doing what I did. Thank you for reading.